The Shadow Within, a descent into Jung's darkest truths. Chapter 1, The Door to the Abyss. Close your eyes. Beneath the skin of your mind, beneath the polite masks you wear, there is a door. You don't remember building it, you don't remember locking it, but it's there, sealed, heavy, waiting. Carl Jung called what lies beyond that door the shadow. Not the kind of shadow that clings harmlessly to your feet in daylight. This shadow is alive. It is the beast in the cellar of your soul. It waits, pacing in silence, feeding on the things you refuse to face. Every fear you deny and every rage you choke down. The more you suppress it, the stronger it grows. The more you turn your back, the sharper the teeth become. Jung warned, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Most people never dare open the door. They spend their lives smiling, working, pretending, while the thing inside grows restless. They mistake their masks for themselves, not realizing the mask is rotting and the stench is seeping through the cracks. And here is the brutal truth. The shadow never sleeps. It waits. It listens. And when the pressure becomes unbearable, when the beach ball you forced under black water finally slips, the shadow explodes upwards, violent, uncontrolled, consuming. You've seen it before. The respectable man who becomes a monster in secret. The perfect couple who shatter into violence behind closed doors. The polite stranger whose eyes flicker with something feral for just 1 second too long. That is the shadow breaking through the cracks of the mask. Every one of us carries it. Some deny it. Some project it onto others, seeing demons in strangers, never realizing it's their own reflection. And some learn to open the door willingly. But opening the door is not salvation, it is descent. This is where our journey begins, with a choice. Do you continue pretending, holding the door shut until your hands bleed? Or do you turn the handle, step into the abyss, and face the creature that bears your face in the dark? This is the shadow, and this is the first step into its domain. Chapter 2, The Mask and the Monster. We are born faceless, but it doesn't take long before the world demands we wear one. Parents, teachers, society, they teach us what is acceptable, what earns love, what avoids punishment, and so we build the mask. Jung called it the persona. The mask smiles, obeys, and conforms. But every mask has a cost. Every time we silence the voice inside us, every time we amputate a desire, a hunger, a rage, it doesn't disappear. It retreats and festers. Behind the mask, the shadow grows. Think of it as a monster stitched together from everything you deny, the lust you pretend you don't feel, or the envy you swallow, the anger you never let surface. Piece by piece, it becomes a creature that knows you more intimately than anyone else. And the more you polish the mask for the world, the more grotesque the monster becomes beneath it. You've seen this contradiction before. The priest who preaches purity while drowning in secret vice. The smiling politician who shakes hands by day and feeds on corruption by night. The family portrait that hides screams in every darkened hallway. This is not hypocrisy, it's inevitability. The mask creates the monster. Jung warned that what we repress does not vanish. It returns with teeth. The face we show the world is only half the story. The other half waits in silence, muttering in dreams, twitching in our private thoughts, slipping out in the moments we least expect. And if we continue to worship the mask and exile the monster, the day comes when the mask cracks, and when it does, we discover the terrible truth. The shadow has been wearing us all along. So ask yourself, which is more dangerous, the mask that deceives the world, or the monster that waits to devour the one who wears it? This is the second truth of Jung's darkness. You are not one, you are two, the mask and the monster. And every day, the monster grows hungry for the face you refuse to admit is yours. Chapter 3. Projection. The mirror of blood. You think you know yourself, but the truth is, most of what you call me is a mask, and most of what you hate about others belongs to you. Carl Jung named this phenomenon projection. What we cannot accept in ourselves, we cast outward, like shadows stretched against the walls of the world. You see arrogance in another, but it is your own buried hunger for recognition. You feel disgust at another's weakness, but it is your own secret vulnerability clawing at your conscience. You rage against another's sins, but it is your own impulses you have chained in the dark. Projection is the most brutal mirror. It shows us not who others are, but who we are too afraid to face. Consider how often you react violently to another's behavior. The stranger's laugh that grates your nerves, the colleague whose confidence twists into unbearable arrogance in your eyes, the lover whose flaws feel like knives in your chest. Why do these traits pierce so deep? Because they're yours, because you buried them, and now they return, not as your reflection, but as someone else wearing your wounds. Jung wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." But most never see the lesson. They lash out, gossip, punish, exile. They kill the messenger instead of facing the message. And so their shadow survives, untouched, unseen, growing stronger in silence. Projection is a curse, but it is also an invitation. Each time you feel that disproportionate rage, that irrational disgust, that violent swell of judgment, you're being shown the face of your own shadow. The question is, will you keep fighting phantoms in others, spilling blood in mirrors, or will you recognize the monster's face as your own? Because until you do, you'll live in a world haunted by demons that never existed, hunted by enemies that are nothing more than fragments of yourself. This is the third truth of Jung's darkness. Every wound you see in another bleeds from your own body. Every monster you condemn is stitched from your own flesh. The world is your mirror, and it reflects in blood. Chapter 4. Archetypes in the Dark. Beneath the surface of every human mind, Jung believed there are patterns older than memory, ancient masks, primal forces. He called them archetypes. They are not just ideas, they are living blueprints, the shapes that human behavior takes when the unconscious rises. They appear in dreams, in myths, in nightmares. They are the characters you cannot escape because they live in you, and in the dark they change. The shadow itself is the first and most feared archetype, not a metaphor, but a predator inside your soul. It knows every weakness, it knows every hunger. It waits to consume what you refuse to claim as yours. The more you run, the faster it follows. Then there is the anima and animus, the phantom lover, the whispering figure who pulls you into obsession. Jung saw them as the soul's opposite sex within us, but in the dark they become something else, a siren who lures you into ruin, a faceless bride or groom who never lets you go. Many have mistaken their phantom for salvation. Many have gone mad in its arms. And then the trickster, the jester of your unconscious, the one who laughs as you sabotage yourself, the one who whispers lies so convincing you believe they were your own. The trickster wears masks upon masks, leading you down paths that loop into despair. You think you're in control, but it's your own chaos leading you by the hand. Look into history, into myth, into horror. The double life of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the vampire who feeds on forbidden desire, the werewolf who erupts when rage overwhelms restraint. These are not just stories, they are archetypes, Jung's eternal shadows, moving through our culture like predators circling a fire. And here is the brutal truth. These figures are not outside of you. They are not villains in distant tales. They are your inheritance. They are the ancient bones of your psyche, rattling in the dark. When Jung mapped the human mind, he was not drawing diagrams. He was opening tombs, and what he found was not light, but legions. This is the fourth truth of Jung's darkness. You are never alone in your mind. The archetypes walk beside you. They wear your face in the dream. They wait in silence for the day you stop pretending they are not real. Chapter 5. Individuation. Marriage with the monster. Jung believed the highest task of a human life is individuation, the process of becoming whole. But do not mistake this for serenity. Individuation is no peaceful awakening. It is a confrontation, a ritual, a descent into the pit where the shadow waits. To individuate is to meet the monster in the dark and to admit, you are mine, and I am yours. Think of every horror you've ever heard, the hero who descends into the underworld, or the knight who enters the dragon's lair, or maybe the wanderer who stares into the abyss until the abyss stares back. These are not just myths, they are maps. They are blueprints of what it means to face the thing you most fear, yourself. Because the shadow does not vanish when you ignore it. It festers, it mutates, and when it finally steps forward, it will not ask permission, it will devour. Individuation demands that you turn and face it first, that you open the door willingly, instead of waiting for it to break. Picture it, a marriage with the monster, a union with your rejected twin, to accept its rage, its lust, its jealousy, its violence. Not to indulge them blindly, but to recognize them as yours. To say, you will not stalk me from the dark, you will walk beside me in the light. This is not comfort, it is terror, because to integrate the shadow is to dissolve the lie you have lived behind. The mask shatters, the persona dies, and you are left with something raw, something unrecognizable, a self made of both light and blood. Jung called this the path to wholeness, but do not confuse wholeness with happiness. To be whole is to see every crack, every wound, every secret impulse. To be whole is to carry the monster inside you openly, without disguise. This is the brutal paradox. To control the shadow, you must surrender to it. To tame the beast, you must admit you are the beast. And most will never do it. They will cling to their masks until the day they die, never realizing that the mask was the true prison. But for those who dare, for those who marry the monster, something else emerges. A deeper power, a darker clarity, a freedom born not of denial, but of union. This is the fifth truth of Jung's darkness. You cannot escape the shadow, you can only embrace it, and until you do, you are not whole. Chapter 6. The Collective Nightmare. The shadow is not yours alone. It does not stop at the edge of your skin. It bleeds outwards, into families, into tribes, into nations. Jung called it the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of humanity's archetypes, fears, and desires. And just as individuals repress their darkness, so do societies. But what is denied on a mass scale does not disappear. It returns as history. It returns as horror. Look at the world and you'll see it. The atrocities of war, the blind rage of mobs, the rise of tyrants who mirror the denied hunger of millions. These are not accidents. They are the collective shadow breaking through the surface. Every genocide, every cult, every violent ideology, they are the same story told again and again. People refusing to face the beast inside themselves until it grows too large and consumes them from the outside. Jung warned that the greatest danger to humanity is not famine, not plague, not disaster, but our own unconscious. The monsters we refuse to acknowledge become the monsters that rule us. And here is the final brutality. The shadow will never die. Not in you, not in me, not in us. It waits in the marrow of the human race. It waits in every myth, every nightmare, every whispered story told around the fire. To face it alone is terrifying. To face it together may be the only chance we have. Because the collective shadow is rising still. It shapes our politics. It festers in our technology. It sharpens its teeth in every conflict we deny is ours. You cannot save the world by killing the monster. You can only save it by admitting the monster is us. This is the sixth and final truth of Jung's darkness. The shadow is not an intruder, it is the human inheritance. And until we claim it, until we make the darkness conscious, humanity will remain at war with itself, trapped in an endless nightmare of its own design. So the question remains, will you keep the door shut and let it consume you? Or will you open it, step inside and carry the shadow as your own? The choice is yours. It always has been.